What's good, everybody? Happy Hump Day, happy Wednesday, whatever you want to call it. Glad to be back here with you, Buckeye Scoop family and Buckeye Nation. I see y'all in the chat already going hard. Appreciate y'all. Stilly Matt, Liz Brandon, Mark Swick, all the usuals. Pinky in the house. What's good, y'all? Good to see y'all. Do me a favor. If you have not already done it, hit that like button and then subscribe if you have not already. We are still inching towards our goal for 40K. We're going to get there. And with every subscription, it's eating that elephant one bite at a time. So let's do it. All right. We're also going to talk about, some good information we're getting from helping technician on the Buckeye Scoop board about what's going on with the team and their mindset and the psychological warfare of rat poison and all that other stuff that we love to talk about. We're going to touch on that. But also remember, when you send those wonderful super chats, it helps to go towards the Pay It Forward, which is our military and our first responders. You know we're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. And Nevada Buck, what's up, man? How you doing on this Wednesday evening?
Well, I'm good. We got a big announcement, Beef, this is a programming change that is coming up for the B Moses and Nevada Buck show, which is on Monday, November 3rd. We're moving to 7:10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So the old time we had moved to 8:10. We're moving it up because Nevada's old and needs to get to bed early as soon as the show's over. He's going to be tucked into bed. I may actually just broadcast in my jammies from now on. Just go right to bed after the show. But 7:10 p.m. Eastern time, starting Monday, November 3rd. So make a note of that. Make a note of that program change because you don't want to be show up at 8:10 and we're already show's over. And
Right.
you're like, what the heck happened? 7:10 p.m. Or better yet, just hit that alert bell and you can get an alert whatever time we're going. But 7:10 starting November 3rd.
There you go. And we'll remind you as we get closer, little reminders. But yeah, that notification bell is that's it right there. You do that, it's like boom, you got it. Like, oh crap, that's right, they're going earlier. So yeah, make sure you do that. But yeah, so again, it's the middle of the week on the bye week, right? We hate bye weeks. They're just ridiculous. But there's always something to talk about. And of course, we care about the mindset of the team. Are they going to come out hot on the bye week? Are they going to come out sluggish? Are they believing their press clippings? All of that. So, Nevada, first of all, what's your thoughts on all of that? And then let's get right into the helping tech nugget and kind of break that down.
Well, I find this stuff absolutely fascinating. So we could talk about this stuff for 5 shows in a row, and it would never get tiring for me. But I psychology of large organizations, and make no mistake, Ohio State football is a large organization with 85 plus, 105 plus young men that you're trying to keep focused on a common goal. And helping technician came in with a great nugget today, talking about one of the challenges of how do you deal with a team that is right now is number one in the country on a bye week, having every article you read about Ohio State. I mean, you get the occasional haterade, they haven't played anybody or the schedule's
Right.
soft or whatever it is, but generally it's pretty much, hey, this team's amazing, defending national champion, losing 14 starters, undefeated, one of the youngest teams in college football on top of that. And so they're getting a lot of accolades, and they're getting that at home. They're getting it from their friends. They're getting that, at school from, the fans. Everything's positive right now for the Buckeyes. And Nick Saban and Urban Meyer had a word for this. They called it rat poison. They called it you're
Yeah.
just getting poisoned a little bit at a time. You're taking a little bite of the cheese at a time, and you're just getting poisoned by it. And so for Ryan, he's got a battle. These guys, now that they've got NIL money on top of everything, they're all going home this weekend or somewhere else, some exotic locale. I mean, these guys can literally afford private planes to go wherever they want to go and do
Yes,
whatever they
they
want.
can.
It's not like the old days, them huddling around the Greyhound bus and trying to get money together. I mean, these guys are
Right.
they're living large. So Ryan, I always wonder, like, is Ryan going hard on him? Is he going soft? What's he doing? And it's basic. The psychology is basically, it's kind of a lieutenant to Jim Tressel's famous "People need love the most when they deserve it the least." Well, they need uh, accolades the most when they deserve it least, and they need them the least when they deserve it the most. So they're not getting any accolades right now. They're getting hammered. They're getting nits picked, and he's going hard on them because he's trying to break them down. He's trying to break them down from ingesting this rat poison, from getting this big head, from being completely caught up in all the stuff, going really really hard on the guys, and trying to keep them sharp. Through a bye week, the Penn State games lost some of the luster. If we'd have gone back 5 weeks ago, we were talking about a streak of, at Illinois, at Wisconsin, off week in Penn State. And we were looking at that kind of going, man, that's murderer's row right there. And, obviously Illinois, took care of business. Wisconsin wasn't much, and Penn State is completely imploded. So the season's taken on a different operational tempo, and any plans that are, that Coach Day had for getting these guys ready has got to go out the window. But just so you know, plan is go hard at them this week, break them down, start building them up next week, steadily towards Penn State. Spend this week, working on enhancement to the program, and most importantly, spend it on self scouting and trying to get into different things to try to see what you can do to improve, and kind of go through that as they move forward.
Yep, yep. And it's just funny, man, with this whole situation with Penn State. I was looking at a tweet earlier from some cat named Bob Dubs. He said, "This is totally going to be the 1 year Penn State actually beats Ohio State." So you mentioned something about the Penn State game losing its luster. Okay, the stuff I've been hearing from Coach Day has given me a better feeling about that fear, because the media has been, they've been trying to sprinkle the rat poison, even if it's unintentional, saying stuff like, Penn State with all these losses and how do you get your team to vote. One thing he keeps saying is the big one, or he's saying a big one. We got a big one coming up, talking about Penn State. He also said this is the same team that was picked to win the Big Ten and play for the national title. I mean, take Drew Aller out. Listen, we can disagree. It's coach speak, but it's good coach speak. So my point is that Ryan Day, he's not letting up on that. He's not playing with that. Ryan Day, he only has one loss against a unranked opponent. Okay, he knows how to get his guys ready to play in games like this. So Nevada, I mean, everything you said was great, but I really wanted to zoom in on the Penn State factor, because we got them coming up, and then you do have the psychological warfare of, dang, this was supposed to be like a huge game, 1 versus 2 potentially at the shoe, and now it's like wah wah wah. You know what I'm saying? So how do you keep your guys focused and not allow them to take the bait of not being as ready? Because Penn State and that interim coach, what is his name, Terry something, they're going to want to come in here and try to salvage their season as much as possible by knocking us off and catching us slipping. And one other factor, Nevada, that people have to remember that this team is not going to overlook Penn State is the Jim Knowles factor. I know Ryan Day appreciates Jim Knowles for his contribution to the Terry Smith, thanks, Stilly, to the championship. And I know we don't hate Jim Knowles, but I tell you what, though, from the comments I've been hearing from players in the media, not saying his name, but almost like a backhanded jab as they're complimenting their new and improved D coordinator, who actually spends time with them and proves that he loves them and has a relationship with them. All those comments, they feel away. I guarantee y'all they feel away about Jim Knowles. Not saying they hate him, but they're going to want to win this game. So I'm saying all that to say is that you got that as well to help contribute towards them not overlooking a weakened Penn State team. Nevada, I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Ohio State. Ohio State's going to. There's two things. One, they're going to try to create boogeymen whenever they can.
Yes.
So if they can make Jim Knowles to be the arch villain even, whether they're not going to do it publicly, but whether they do that privately. Hey, this guy left you. Hey, this guy never loved you. Hey, this guy never spent time. I mean, they'll do whatever. I mean, Urban Meyer used to make up quotes. He'd make up quotes that he'd attribute to people from the other
I
team, and
remember
when they
that.
never
Yeah.
said it, and he would do that. He'd put it up there, and he'd put the thing on there, and he put the quote, and have the guys walk across the quote every day when they come to the. I mean, he was a master at doing. That's why he was so good in these big rivalry games, bowl games, and so never been a better big game coach than Urban Meyer. But in terms of the everyday game, there's probably never been a better coach than Ryan Day, and that involves trying to find things to motivate the guys as well. And they'll definitely play up the Knowles angle. But I think the big thing for Ryan Day, and this is something that he's really emphasized all year, has been it's not about the other team, it's about us. So we're not playing the other team, we're playing against the standard of perfection in Ohio State football. So every week you're trying to get better. Every week you're trying to improve. Every week you're trying to execute at a higher level, be more dominant, grade out higher, whatever it is, so that it doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter whether the opponent's been diminished, whether the opponent is ascendant, whether the opponent is having trouble or having a great season. It's about us. It's about Ohio State football, and I love that approach. I think more than anything, that's probably the secret to his success and why he's been so good these games and so consistent, and why he's
Yeah.
had the best winning percentage in the history of college football, is because he doesn't get caught up in the ebbs and flows of the big game thing versus this or that or that or whatever thing. It's like, hey, you know what the big game is? It's the next game, because you need to get better, and you need to be building, and you need to be peaking at the end of the year. And the only way you're going to get better is to take another step against Penn State in 2 weeks. And what can we do to get better about that? I think that's the secret sauce for Ryan Day, and I think that's the reason why he's been the most consistent winner in the history of the Big Ten and the history of college football. And I'm sure glad that we have him as our head coach at Ohio State.
Agreed. He's darn good, man, and he's darn good at stuff like this. He's not going to let them. He's not Urban Meyer as far as the reputation of having a psychological warfare, like but he knows. I mean, he was discipled by Urban Meyer. I mean, he's seen a lot. He's learned a lot, and he's proven it with his record. And so I do not expect a letdown against this Penn State team. I'm hoping we blow them out. I'm tired of close games with them, Nevada. Remember some years back we used to blow them out pretty good. They need that again. I just feel like we need to cleanse their soul with a good old fashioned bloodbath in the shoe. But either way, just win the game, of course. But I'm just saying. But yeah, I think these boys are going to be ready to go. And also, the Ryan Day press conference was yesterday, and he mentioned a few things. And also, I saw something else I think I wanted to share. I don't want to go too off the reservation, but it's game related. Basically, Ryan Day was talking about the run game and how he feels like it's just some things, some technique things. He doesn't seem to be panicking about the run game. I also saw a stat, I'm going to try to pull it up, that really brings things into perspective about the run game in comparison to, everyone across the country and efficiency and stuff like that. But the point is that, we're going to work on these things in the off week. And I think we're going to come out ready to go, man. I keep reminding people in Nevada, we have such an advantage of going through the gauntlet of the playoffs last year, the entire season, and then the playoffs. And then, obviously losing that game to the team up north, all of that stuff. I mean, to me, that's valuable information and experience to know exactly how to pace yourself through this gauntlet and how to approach these games. And so just like Julian saying, learns from his mistakes and quickly, corrects it. I feel like Ryan Day is that person too. He's going to learn from his mistakes. And that's funny to say that after winning a natty. But, hey, this dude is driven, and so is his team, on going back to back. Make no bones about it. That is the goal. It's not a secret, not a question. That's what them boys want to do. And Ryan Day, you see him on the sideline in blowouts, just looking when somebody messes up, stone faced. He's serious. And so again, that makes me comfortable. And I'm saying all this to say it, Nevada, because again, I deal with a lot of fans. I'm on the socials a lot. People hit me up, about their concerns and their fears, which is cool. But people are concerned that we're going to overlook Penn State, Nevada. That there's a big concern with that.
Well, I mean, we pride ourselves on being honest on the show. I mean, Penn State's really bad and really limited offensively, and I know they got the quarterback with the Olentangy ties, and he'll want to come in and play well. But the bottom line is he's going to have to play against this defense, and he's going to have
Yeah.
to play against this defense in the stadium, and that's a tall order for anybody. You saw how we confuse quarterbacks like Luke Altmaier, who's got 50 starts under his belt, 6-year
Yeah.
senior. How's it going to be a guy that's playing in like his second game, throwing like his 12th pass? I mean, nothing's impossible,
That's
but
tough. Yeah.
I mean, you just got to recognize the magnitude of the task. And but to your point about learning, I mean, the other guy that learned a lot was Mickey Marotti. Mickey Marotti and now has got a
Oh yeah. Smart.
PhD in how to get the guys physically ready for these games, and when what to do and what buttons to push. And that's only two teams made it all the way to the end of the road last year. It was us and Notre Dame. And so I totally agree with you that that's valuable intel and that's valuable insight that he has. And I feel like we certainly have got an edge for having had gone through that last year. We played the toughest road possible and managed to stay fresh and win. I think that's going to serve us well this year, and I think that's part of trying to put this bye week to good use. And I guess that's the second part of the nugget that leads me right into the second part of the nugget. The big second thing that's kind of going on this week is self scouting.
Yes.
And self scouting is going on where use guys internally as well as outside consultants that come in and look at your team for tendencies, for biases, for tells, for other things like this. And helping technicians point out one thing, which was a great insight. But it was at this time last year when they noticed that JJ Smith would keep his outside foot up forward when he was running the reverse, when he was pivoting to do that orbit motion reverse. And they started setting it up. They started setting it up so that when the time came, when they needed it, when they were going to run that reverse orbit motion pass like they did in the national championship game, that he'd fake his feet, call it out. You see the defensive back screaming like he'd solved, he discovered the secret and starts sprinting across the field. And all of a sudden, JJ's going the other way. They throw him and he walks into the end zone. I mean, that was all a psyop right there. That was it was completely a setup. It was completely a false tell that they put out to him. And false tells can be anything. They can be, you've got linemen that inadvertently will tug at their shoulder pads before a pass play because they're kind of feel like they're tightening the thing down, or a running back that keeps his mouthpiece out of his mouth, or it's like somebody who shades one way or another. They pick up on all this stuff, and you have outside people that specialize in doing this that are looking at it. And they're giving the information to correct stuff that you're doing,
Yeah.
but two, they're planting the seeds to say, hey, if you want to keep doing this, you can set something up with this and try to use it for that special time, like the double tap that they did when they got the guy to jump off sides against Illinois, where every time he's tapping the center, then the ball comes right after that. Well, you tap and then you don't snap it. Defensive end jumps, you get a free first down. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
there's lots of things. There's a lot of spy versus spy going on, but this is the week when a lot of that stuff gets implemented because it's the second bye week. It's the middle of the season. You've been able, we talk about setting tendencies to break them. Well, you can also set some traps for other people to kind of fall in. This is a week when traps get identified, traps get developed, and things get laid out as a foundation for things going on in the future. And that's another really exciting thing going on this week at the Woody Hayes.
Yes, I loved that part of the nugget. I love me some self scouting. I love it. And if y'all haven't heard this interview before, I'm not sure who interviewed him. Ryan Day got interviewed, and he talked about this. He talked about the tail and how they used it against the opponent with Jeremiah Smith. I mean, this was like, it was masterful how this was set up. So when Nevada's telling y'all this, he's not just saying this. Like I'll try to find it somehow, but y'all got to hear it if you haven't already heard it. And he walks you through how they set it up. And Nevada, to this day, To this day, I still crack up when I see the Notre Dame. I mean, you said like he discovered that dude was jumping, like he was panicking, like that was the funniest thing, bro. The way he was jumping and pointing. I was just like, you would have thought the world was about to end if they didn't stop him the way he was jumping and pointing about him. Hilarious.
Well, they'd set the whole thing up. They'd set a Mecca yelling at JJ about his feet and about I
Everything.
mean,
Yes.
everything. They set the whole thing up, and I love stuff like that. I always think it's kind of cheesy when they do the one like Patrick Mahomes will do the one every now and then where he'll like fake and he'll walk over to the sideline like he's yelling at the sideline, but he's really going in motion, and then they snap into the center. And I mean that's cool too, but stuff like this where it's like you're setting the trap. I mean, this reminds me of the old thing when I guess Mike Leach when he set out the fake play sheet for the other team to find before the game, and he found the play sheet, and like it's just I love stuff like this. But the Notre Dame thing might be the funniest thing you've ever seen. So if you
Oh
haven't
man.
watched that, you have to go back and watch the play because Emeka yells at JJ. JJ switches his feet, and the receiver at the back immediately starts screaming and pointing, literally jumping up and down when he's pointing. And as soon as the play starts, he starts running to the right, full speed, anticipating that JJ is getting the reverse going around the other way. And then JJ stops and goes back. There's a little wide open pass, and he literally walks into the end zone. So yeah, great psyop there. I was trying to get out of helping technicians some of the stuff they picked up, but he doesn't really want to give it away because some of the stuff they might want to keep to try to keep people in it. You know what I'm saying? So he was kind of cryptic in terms of some of the stuff that they'd identified, but it's really interesting because there's always a game inside of a game that's kind of going on this stuff. And for Ohio State, I think they're going to work on some things with cadence. They're going to work on some things in the red zone, especially to try to see if they can trap some people with some of the tendencies, some things that they've done. But part of this thing where they went out against Wisconsin and went out and passed right off the bat too, that was about breaking tendencies as well, because that is not something that they'd done previously. That's not something that they'd shown, but they want to put that out there for people so that they have to prepare for it, that they have to be prepared for, hey, they may go air raid. And, Ryan Day, if you go back to when we lost to Alabama, go back and you pull up the box score from the Alabama Ohio State. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to pull up the box score from the Alabama Ohio State. Hold on. I'm typing state box score.
Every
Um,
time you bring that up, I always think about our linebacker. Who was it? Was it Storm Klein?
no, it's
Matt
tough
Tough
bowler.
Borland matched up 1-on-1 against freaking who's the wide receiver that for the Eagles?
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. Jesus
Yeah.
Lord, God help me.
Well,
Anyway,
in
what you got?
that game, Alabama threw for 464 yards and only rushed for 157 at 4.1 yards per carry. So the bottom line is they didn't give a hoot about balance. They didn't give a hoot about winning the rushing battle. They didn't give you know what I'm saying? They just went out and won the game. And the advantage that they had, the clear advantage they had, obviously, when it was all over the field, but it's in fact in the game, yeah, the rushing was 157 to 147. So, the rushing yards were fairly close. The game was not close. So
Yeah.
you can win a game. You can bludgeon a team through the air if you've got an advantage, if you've got receivers and a quarterback. And I would submit that Julian saying, I mean, I hate going with these hyperbole or absolutes, but he's the most accurate quarterback that I've ever seen in college football. I mean, ever. Go back to, nobody's ever, like the numbers that he's putting up, the accuracy numbers and the way that he's throwing when you combine his accuracy with his yards per attempt, nobody's ever been at that level before, because generally super accurate quarterbacks are check down Charlies. They're guys that just
Yeah.
check it down, the nice, the JJ McCarthy never throw the ball more than 3 yards down the field type of thing. But Julian guns it, man. Julian, and it's always right there. And he throws the ball high because that's where your receiver can go get. You've got wide receivers that can go up and get the ball. So if you want to miss, you want to miss high, because
Yep.
JJ Smith and Carnell, those guys can climb ladder, and they're bigger than the defensive backs, and they can go up. And if the defensive back goes up with them, there's a good chance you're going to get a pass interference call or a holding or whatever it might be. So I mean, he's just the perfect quarterback to run this type of offense. I, you know, I know it's a minority view, and I know people love to talk about. I just want to line up and take the other team's thing away and run the ball right at them and run it down the field, and it's just like that's great. We all loved what happened last year at Penn State when we ground the last 8 minutes off the ground on the on the ground and um, didn't have to throw the football. But man, we throw the football so well, and we're just so good at it, and we've got such a huge advantage. I just hope that Ryan really leans into that, and that we really kind of embrace the fact that we're a pass first team and we can win a national championship throwing the football.
Yeah, that's good food, man. That is good food. I like it, and I do think Ryan Day sees that. I think he's learned that, and yeah, you're right. Saying he's a dog. It's funny, Nevada. Somebody tried to say on my socials, he threw that Carnell Tate. Nobody's talking about how he threw it into double coverage. First of all, it was not double coverage. The safety came over late. The ball was already there. Was no way he was going to get there. First and second of all, like you said, like don't you understand they rep this in practice? You throw the ball to a spot, knowing your guy's going to go up and get it. Like that's something that you rep and that you trust your receiver to do. So when Sayan threw that ball, he knew exact. This is why receivers and quarterbacks always throw together because there's a connection, there's a chemistry. That's real. That is very, very real. When a guy, the timing of when he comes out of his break, you know how he adjusts the balls in the air. You know what he likes to do, whatever. And that ball he threw to Tate you could just see that they repped that 100 times, 500 times. And Carnell Tate, he knew Tate was going to go up and pluck that. So this double coverage stuff is just weird, but it just confirms what you said, Nevada, about his ability to sling it. Because that Wisconsin game to me was a perfect mixture of being smart enough to know when to check down and then having the capability and the supreme ability to throw just about every ball in the field from that Tate throw, over the two guys to the Tate throw in the corner of the end zone. That was a dart. To the Brandon Ennis throw, which was amazing in person. He was running our way. He was running, towards the sideline when he threw that. We were right there, and it was just a phenomenal throw. He can make all the throws, to your point, Nevada. He is perfect for this. And he's not only smart, but he's unfazed. He's unflappable. He doesn't get flustered. You can tell. He's just cool. He's just like a machine out there. And he's only going to get better. So I agree. Nevada, on all of that. Amen.
Well, he just doesn't emit any of that nervous energy. And again, I hate to keep going back to McCord, but McCord always kind of gave off that kind of that I don't know. It was just like an uncertainty,
Yes.
I'm worried about making the next throw, or where's it going to go, or what's going to happen. And with Julian, I mean, I think the other thing people don't really understand is if you ever get the bird's eye, for anybody who's ever played quarterback, you realize how small these windows are that you're throwing into.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like you see, because we see it and we see the ball thrown and we see the guy catch the ball, and we're like, oh, nobody's around it. Oh, that was easy pitch again, but you don't realize like you have to throw it before the guy even moved, before you're moving another guy off the line with your eyes. You're anticipating another guy dropping back. You're dropping it over his head and in front of you. I mean, like there is a lot that goes into this, and you've got to make a decision in a millisecond that you're going to go, and you got to be decisive with the ball. And
Yeah.
Julian's all those things. He's very, very smart. He can see the field really well. He's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he is Aaron Rodgers at Cal in terms of the way that he throws the ball. And he throws such a beautiful ball, such a high spin rate, such a high velocity ball. But he can also take it off. He's not like Underwood, who just throws the one fastball. I mean, he can throw with touch. He can throw with art. I mean, he can make every pass. And for Ohio State, it just gives them so many different options. And if Ennis gets going, with Quincy or Milan or whomever, or any combination of those guys with Max Clare, and then you've got Carnell and JJ. If those guys can stay healthy, knock on wood, I mean,
Yeah.
that is a devastatingly effective passing. And as we talked about how good our running backs are catching those outlet passes and getting those six,
Yes.
7 yard, chain movers, or in Bo Jackson's case, the one time we threw it to him on the sideline, he housed it. You know what I'm saying? There's a little outlet down here thing, and they've got a tight end blocking for him, and he quick 25-yard touchdown right down the sideline. So Ohio State's so good at the passing attack right now, and for for all the angst that we have about the running game and about getting the running game going and stuff like that, man, I'm just not that worried about. I think that there are technical fixes that can be made, schematic fixes can be made, technique things that can be fixed up, but I'm just not worried about it. I'm As long as we're leaning into our passing, our running game will be just fine. It'll be sufficient because our passing game is just devastatingly effective, and I just think that that's who we are.
That was a prophetic segue into your ending with the running because I was pulling this up as you were saying that. And this is what I shared on Twitter from a cat named Brian Buckeye Stat. Shout out to him. Does a great job. Now, before I get into this, Nevada, remind me, did you say in that Alabama 2020 game they had 150 yards rushing?
They had 157. Yeah.
157. Okay, cool. So here's the post from Brian Buckeye Stats. This is about the run game. It says, going through Ohio State opponents on the year and their current defensive rankings and all the talk about our rushing game woes thus far this season. But did you know that 4 of our prior opponents currently rank in the top 20 in rushing defense? Texas, number 5, Wisconsin, 18, Minnesota, 19, Washington, 19. They're tied. There's only one other team currently ranked in the AP top 25 that has faced 4 current top 20 rushing defenses. That's Alabama. All other teams in the AP top 25 to face current top 20 rushing defenses. 0 teams faced 7 AP ranked teams. 1 team faced 10 AP ranked teams. 2 teams faced 5 AP ranked teams. And then 3 teams faced 1 AP ranked teams. And it says, to end it, why Ohio State football shouldn't feel so badly about our running game at the moment. Rushing offense rankings, Ohio State, number 72 with 151 yards per game. That's why I asked you about the 150. Alabama, 104 with 125 yards per game. Average yards per carry for Ohio State, ranked 51 at 4.5. Alabama, 111 at 3.6. And then he says you need to relax. So I thought that was a very good post to bring some perspective about the run game. And then kind of like, piggybacking on what you said, it's funny that you said 157 for Alabama. And so, yes, we want to improve the run game. If there's a situation where, hey, we need to run a little bit more right now, then we want to be able to do that. We have time to do that. But to your point, Nevada, we have the weapons and the QB, most importantly, to lean on the passing game, and the lack of balance will not be detrimental to us because we're so darn good. And we still have a solid to decent run game that can still pick up some yards when needed. It's not like we're just terrible. We're just not where we were last year with our 2 backs in that run game we had. But go ahead, brother.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, we don't have Quinshawn and Trey. We don't have Chip Kelly, and we don't have Will Howard. So
Yeah.
we're missing some key pieces, to the running attack right there. But you know, generally, what people equate a passing attack to is a passing attack is generally equated to, like, that's your long range touchdowns, and your
Right.
rushing attack is your short range ball control type of thing. But we can run a short range passing attack that's a ball control passing attack. All those 6 and 7 yard outs to JJ, how do you guard that? How do you guard that against Carnell Tate when he's, when JJ, when Sain's throwing on time to Carnell Tate or to JJ Smith going out of bounds and you catch it for 7 yards? Those are chain movers as well. And what teams are counting on is that you're just not patient or proficient enough to continue to do that down the field without having a negative play, getting behind the chains, and then being forced to punt. But Ohio State is, when you're completing passes at 80% and your guys catch everything and your quarterback puts it right there, you can run that offense. You can literally run that offense, and you can move it right down the field. And we showed that against Wisconsin. And I think that was a dry run for what the rest of the season's going to look like. I think that we're going to run that kind of an offense where, hey, you want to run that shell against us? Well, okay, well, we're not going to try to beat you over the top with it. We're not going to just force it there, but we'll throw 6, 7 yards at a time. We'll just move the ball right down the field, and as soon as you back out of that at all, as soon as you start doing, then we'll run the ball on you. And I think that's what Ryan Day, by the stuff that they're running, by the stuff that they're doing, by the stuff that we're hearing, it just seems like we're seeing the formation of this 2025 offense. And it's different because, look, I was the biggest Will Howard fan in the world, love Will Howard, think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play at Ohio State. Um, but it wasn't the thrower Julian saying. He just not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Will could be, throw them high and away, or tell him where they make it. Julian just doesn't do that. So you can run a different kind of an offense with him. But Julian's also, he's nimble and quick enough to keep the ball. He kept it on a keeper last time, went for 9 yards. He scrambled around. You see his pocket presence in terms of doing stuff. But I just love the fact that we can bomb it deep. We got guys that are field stretchers. I always thought about Marvin. I thought Marvin was a great receiver at Ohio State, but I didn't feel like he was like a field stretcher. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
didn't feel like he was like a guy that could really take the top off. Well, we got guys that can take the top off, can catch a ball control game, can make the contested catch, that can run with. I mean, they can do it all. So I feel like we've got the perfect kind of offense to lean into, and the perfect quarterback, and the quarterback whisperer in Ryan Day to do it. And I think for Ohio State, I think this week of self scouting is going to do them really well, because I think as they'll see, what they're going to see is, hey, our highest effective yards, effective plays are passing, and that's okay. Let's work on the running stuff, but let's really embrace, pass first. And I really believe that's the way to go. And I've never really felt that way. I've never felt we've had a quarterback quite like Julian saying. I mean, Julian's a better passer than CJ Stroud. He's a better passer than Justin Fields. He's a better passer than, I mean,
it's crazy
just
to say
it's
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to say that, but it's just like, objectively, you just look at it and just like, he is, and that's wild to think about. But that's where we're at, and it's certainly exciting to think about.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. And yes, I mean, just to kind of touch on what you said, we can hit you at all levels. Deep, like you said, over the top, intermediate, you know, just short stuff. We got the receivers. First of all, Tate and Jeremiah Smith can do everything. They can do everything. But we also have Max Clare. Even Kazmarek and Thurman can catch balls, and Ennis. Listen, that touchdown. Don't sleep on Ennis, because that touchdown might have ignited him a little bit. Now they got to throw the ball to him. He doesn't get a lot of targets, but if there becomes a situation, let's just say our top two guys are struggling, or they're doing a good job of frustrating them. I trust that Ennis can catch the ball underneath and move the chains. We've seen enough from him last year doing it in crucial moments, in meaningful moments, and we've seen him do it at times this season, moving the chains with underneath stuff, even little passes out to the flat. He's picked up first downs. He is not some dynamic take the top off guy, but I think he's reliable underneath. The point is, from our running backs to tight ends to Ennis to all our receivers, we can get you on every level. So yes, that's very, very exciting. And I wanted to show something that's slightly off topic. It was mentioned in the chat before we get to super chats, Nevada. I don't know if you heard about this, but I'm about to share my screen. It's funny, man. I was listening to a funny clip of, I think it was some Barstool guys talking about how does it feel to be an Ohio State fan and just sit back and watch your team blow teams out every week. Is it boring and all this other stuff? And they were saying, but Ohio State fans haven't really dealt with pain. And I said, are you kidding me? As successful as we've been, we absolutely have dealt with pain. And this right here is an example. Did you hear about this? This is the referee. It says, report, SEC permanently suspends Ken Williamson after review of Auburn, Georgia officiating. Okay, this is the ref. For those who do not know, this is the ref. And shout out to official Ohio State DG for posting this. He's the same ref that was that did the Clemson Ohio State game where we got absolutely screwed, to the point where even Buckeye haters were like, yo, y'all did get screwed, and I hate y'all guts, but y'all got screwed. This is the ref from that. And so I don't know if you saw that, Nevada, but I wanted to bring this to the light, because people, even some fans to this day, well, y'all just whining. No, we're not. This was an all-time epic blunder by that reffing crew led by this clown right here. So I'm glad he got suspended for something, Nevada.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have a guy that's, permanently suspended and and has got a history like this of some stuff, I mean, it does make you wonder. I mean, it really does make you wonder. You wonder if there's not more to it. And I'm not the guy that goes, I know people love to go with the NFL's fixed or this or that,
Right.
and I'm like, how exactly would that work? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
who gets to vote? Do I get to vote on, okay, let's fix the games all for the Packers because we want the Packers to win because I'm a Packers fan, or do they tell the players, or do they tell,
Right.
how exactly does that work? Um, but I think some guys are just bad, and then I think some guys, I just wonder about their motivations. I really do, because there's so much money that goes into sports. There's so many things that in terms of doing it, and it wouldn't take much. And you've seen it. You saw it with Tim Donaghy and that whole thing with the NBA, where like you'd be like, hey, how could you fix a game in the NBA? Well, really easily. You know what I'm saying? If Tim Donaghy calls a couple of quick fouls on Shaq in the first couple of minutes, and then he's got to play passively the rest of the game, that's a big advantage for the other team. So
Yeah.
um I yeah, I thought that was very I thought that Clemson game, yeah, that I'll never understand those calls. And we've talked about how the ACC now has got transparency. They've got, you get to listen in on the conversations between
Yeah.
the
I love that.
replay committee and the referee on the field. They talk it all out and they do it. And so, one, it gives you insight into their thought process, which is good. But two, they know you're listening. They know that everybody's listening. So they have to be fair now, because
Right.
they know that you're listening. So they can't get away with any shenanigans, or unless they embarrass themselves, and hold themselves up to all sorts of scrutiny. So I think that serves about nine different. I don't know why the NFL doesn't do it. I don't know why the NHL. I mean, I think all those things should be open discussions. If it's a discussion on a play that's being reviewed, why shouldn't we be able to listen in on that? Why shouldn't we be able to do it? And yeah, I thought it was very interesting when that guy got suspended. It was even more interesting when I found out his history with Ohio State, and that was bad all the way around.
Yep, I agree. I love that ACC move. We need to do it. Everyone needs to do it. It's just accountability, man, and because it's just like it's crazy, man. Like that call to this day, that is one of the we've all experienced all our lives in sports some really bad stuff. That is just at the top. I mean, I just could not believe, and I'm not trying to just completely go back down that trail for 10 minutes, but I could not believe that call, Nevada on the field. I was flabbergasted at that call. So yeah. Now, real quick before we get to super chats, I do want to say something quick about the whole fix stuff too. I agree with you. I'm not a big conspiracy guy. There's people who are just everything's a conspiracy. It doesn't. That's their default mechanism, conspiracy. Or if their team loses, the league is cheating for them. But like you said, who's in on it? Like logically, let's walk through it logically. How do you make this happen? Point shaving from an individual player, yes. A rogue ref in the NBA, sure, you can do, but the NFL is fixing it for the Saints to win or for the whoever to win is just like, come on, dog. But that's usually butthurt fans who just try to cope with their team losing. That's always annoyed me. So good point on that, Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, the one you hear the most obviously is the Chiefs and the Taylor Swift thing, because they want all the Swifties to be fans and stuff. And I mean,
Oh, that's funny.
do I think they protect Patrick Mahomes? More, yeah, I do. I think he gets deference that not a lot of other players do because of who he is in the league. But do I think that the refs are actively cheating for the Chiefs? Nah, I don't believe it. And I don't like I like Andy Reid, but I don't like the Chiefs. I don't like Travis Kelsey. I don't like Taylor Swift, and I don't like Patrick Mahomes slash Dylan Rayola. But it is what it is. I don't think there's a big conspiracy going on. We need to start cheating for the Buckeyes, man. We always seem to be on the short end. I mean, maybe it's just my own imagination, but do we ever get like the benefit of, get just right off the top of your head? When's the last time we get the benefit of like a really bad call that you're like, oh wow, that was a really bad call, but we got the benefit of it?
No, a really bad call. No, I can't think of anything, to be honest with you. Ticky tack. maybe, but not really bad. And I think last year, wasn't there like an amazing stat of how we were like the least, I forget how you would say it. Like basically, we got the least holding calls. Like like all last year, we would all see like, man, we are being held. JT Tuimoloau was being tackled in the backfield. We're not getting the call. And then when you looked up the actual stats, we were like one of the lowest as far as getting rewarded with holding calls. So it's just funny to me when hater fan bases try to say, "Oh, the fix is in for the Buckeyes again, and they're cheating for Ohio State," and we looking around like, how, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just go back to Marvin Harrison in against Georgia, and then of course y'all brought up the same game when Sunshine, the quarterback for Clemson, drops his head as Sean Wade is coming, and they call a freaking targeting call. That was huge too. Again, I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not trying to piss you off again, but that game really, really bothers me to this day. So we can move on to super chats unless you want to touch on that, Nevada.
Yeah, now, the stat was, the stat that I've seen, not specific to holding calls, but opponents' penalties called, and we've
Mm,
consistently been at the
yes.
bottom, literally like the last team, like out of 136 teams, we're 136, which is just crazy to me because you think how can we be less than everybody else in college? And it would be year after year after year, we're like in last place in that. So I don't know what that is. I've never heard a real practical explanation or anything that makes sense to me. Um, but it happens. So yeah, I think as Ohio State fans, we certainly have to do it the hardest way possible. That's for sure.
Yep, that is true. It's just true, man. I don't know what to tell y'all. But all right, let's dive in. Kevin Newby, thanks for the 199. Love hearing okay, I think that's B. Yeah, love hearing B Moses and Nevada talk Bucks. Blessed to be a Buckeye. Thank you, and I appreciate y'all being here. Listen, because it's not as fun if we're just sitting here talking to ourselves. So thank you for being here, showing up every night. Y'all make this fun. You know we got love for y'all. Nevada, what you got on that?
Yeah, no, we just really appreciate it. I mean, this whole pod is about the interaction with the audience. It's all about the chat and the family and the questions and the thing. I mean, that is the show. So yeah, we appreciate you guys showing up, participating, having great takes in terms of donut, and B and I just do the best we can to try to inform you and entertain you at the same time. And just appreciate you being here.
Yes, and real quick before we move on, just to kind of touch on that. Listen, man, Buckeye School, we got some smart fans. And I'm saying that because not only because of the interactions on the Buckeye Scoop board, by the way, if you have not joined buckeyescoop.com, sign up, get a subscription, get all the nuggets, all the great information we talk about. Like Nevada says, we're on there all day, every day. So it's not just, a podcast, which thank you for listening, but there's so much, it's a whole nother world of interaction on buckeyescoop.com. But I wanted to say, even the fans we met in Madison, me and Dev, who's in the chat, what up, bro? I posted your Dunk Fickle video, by the way. Make sure you check that out and save that. But anyway, talking to the Buckeye Scoop fans in Madison, we ran into just talking ball, sharp. They know ball. They're, you know what I mean? They're intelligent, logical. We got some great people here at Buckeye Scoop. I just wanted to sing y'all's praises. And that's not just me talking, Nevada. That's real.
But yeah, and that's part of our thing here. Part of our thing. We just hope to make you a smarter fan as well. So if you're smart coming in, maybe we'll make you 5% smarter or give you a little insight or a story or something else like that you can share.
Yeah.
Because then when you're talking to other people, you'll be like, hey, I know something about Jeremiah Smith and his footwork that you might not know about. And they'll be like, hey, you really are smart. And they'll say, thank you, B. Moses.
Yes. I mean, listen, being the smart guy around the water cooler at work is great. It's a great feeling. You know what I'm saying? So step in. The water's fine, y'all. All right, D Sunny, thanks for the 499. I haven't felt this confident in the Bucks since the 2015 team. Ooh, well, I need some clarity on that. Which O State team were you the most confident in to win it all? Well, okay, I think I know what you mean. You mean the 2014 season that spilled over into 2015 for the Natty? Because I was about to say that 2015 season I was not confident because it was just goofy. But to your point, let me think. Which O State team were you the most confident in to win it all? I'll be honest with you, man. I was confident, and I was so confident in the 2016. That Florida buzzsaw was I was a hurting buckaroo, after losing to Florida because I just knew that 2016 with Troy Smith, Heisman, that offense. We were just dope, and we just ran into a buzzsaw, and so we didn't win. But that 2016, I was like, oh yeah, we got this. Nevada, who you got?
I mean, well, yeah, I'll say this, but I'll say it with a qualifier. 2024. I thought 2024 going into
Yeah,
the season
yeah.
that we were the best team in college football, and second for me would be 1998, and the only
Ooh,
difference between those two teams is one played in a 12-team playoff era and one played in a two-team playoff era, and
that's a good point.
you know, 1998. If we get to do an expanded playoff, man, I nobody's touching that team. Um, but 2024, I felt going in the season that we'd be there, and I felt even after we lost to Michigan, and I posted this, I'm like, I'm telling you, I still I think we're the best team in college football. I like our
Yeah,
chances, and I didn't like the path that we had to go through. I thought our
right.
path was, I felt like we were John Wick. We were laid out with an impossible task, something that no one else could finish. You know what I'm saying? But we
Right.
uh, we 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 buried all the bodies that day, and took home the prize. But yeah, 2024, when everybody returned, when JT when the whole gang returned, and then you throw on top of that, Quinshawn, and you've got Caleb Downs, and you've got, I mean, just Will Howard. It was like, wow, this is gonna be something else than it was. So I'll say 2024.
Yeah, I like it. That would be my next one as well. And it's funny, just a real quick comment. It's funny the scum fans and haters when our bracket first came out, they just was dancing. They was doing a Tootsie Roll and all types of herky jerky, goofy dances and celebrating because our path was so daunting and you'll never get through that. And then we get through that. And not only get through that and win by double digits. Now it's a Mickey Mouse natty. Which one is it? I don't know. You tell me, haters. Anyway, all right, what we got next here? Pooh Beard, what's up? Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thanks for the 4.99. RD has given up the fewest points per game, 5.9 by a team with 4+ games played in a season since 1980. We are chasing history, and PSU is in the way. OH,
I
Nevada,
owe I owe
what you got on that?
I mean, it's amazing, and that's part we talk about the motivation. You talk about playing, how this is about us. You talk about the Jim Knowles motivation. You talk about the national championship. You talk about the seniors. Well, they are chasing history. They're trying to do something that defenses hadn't done in a very very long time, and Penn State's another impediment in the way, and they've got a chance against the quarterback that's inexperienced, and they can lay it on him, and I feel like the defense is kind of chasing history. They know that they could be historically good and go down the record books. And, with all the great Ohio State teams, it's nice to be remembered for something. You can be remembered as a national championship team. You can be remembered as a Heisman Trophy winner. But these guys may go down as one of the greatest defenses to ever play college football. And, one of the next steps is that Penn State game. They've got a really good chance to hang a goose egg on them, shut them out here in the shoe. And I think they might just do that.
Yes, I would love that. I would so love a goose egg for Penn State. And I don't even hate. Listen, Penn State. I'm not even like, oh, I just hate them so much. It's just I just want to. I don't know. Just bloodbath them boys, the Nittany kittens in the shoe,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. I don't. It's funny. I don't have any hate for Penn State. I mean, like I hate Michigan. I
Right.
hate them. I
Same.
don't mind saying I hate them with every fiber in my being. I hate them.
Yes.
Penn State, it's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I don't like
Right.
them. I mean, there's no
Right.
love I got for Penn State, but like it's like I have a visceral hate for everything about Michigan. But Penn State, I just like, yeah, let's just shut them out, get them out of the thing. But Michigan,
Right.
I want to annihilate and have the stadium fall into a giant hole.
And that's why we are kindred spirits, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
This right here, this bond we share, the hate for Michigan is, I mean, I don't know too many people who match that hate outside of you, and so I'm very proud of that connection, sir. All
Thank you.
right. So anyway, so let's move on to the next one here. And we got D Sunny. Thanks for the 499. I've never been close to an elite QB. How great is their accuracy if they are just hanging out at a cookout? Hit a yellow post, hit a yellow poster from 30 yards. Nevada, what you got on that?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm just telling you, Julian's just different, man. He is a different cat, and I'm telling you, he's been different since he was like 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like that is just, if you ever met a kid that was just born to be the quarterback, like that kid that just always had it, that was always practicing his mechanics, that always had kind of the air, kind of the cockiness, kind of the swagger, the big arm, was always the quarterback on every team that he had growing up, was all just that kid. That's who he is. So yeah, I don't doubt that he could hit a post it from 30 yards away while holding a Henry Weinhard's wine cooler or whatever else is in one hand and a hot dog in the other. But he's just a cool cat, man. And I love everything about his game, and I just feel like we're really getting treated to something very, very, very special. The combination of Julian Sand and Ryan Day. So just enjoy it because it's going to be we're going to blink and this time's going to be over with us. And so don't miss it because the show the show continues and it's pretty special.
Yeah, man. It's just funny watching him in interviews. He's just a nice kid. You know what I'm saying? You just hear him talk. I mean, he's just a nice kid. He just goes about his business. And again, if you saw this kid at Walmart or something and oh, you dropped something, oh, you're a nice kid. And then you wouldn't think in a million years he would go out on the field and do what he does. I mean, he's just a dog. And so, yeah, I already got love for the kid, man. Shout out to Slay and Saying for doing what he's doing, for sure. All right, Geo Dit, what's up? Thanks for the 5. Ryan Day has found another gem at QB. 2026 QB commit Luke Fahey from Mission Viejo High School is completing 75% of his passes, 18 TDs, 1 interception, 2165 yards so far. Yes, Geo did. Great call out. I've seen clips about this kid. Nobody really celebrated him when we picked him up. Thought he was just, oh, we just, whatever. No, he's really good. He's really, really good, Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, Luke's considered to be the best quarterback in Southern California. So, like, and yeah, I've always said, if you want defensive linemen, you go down to the deep south. You want wide receivers, go down to Florida. If you want quarterbacks, go to Southern California because the best quarterbacks are down there. Not just in California, but in Southern California. Go to Orange County, go to San Diego County, find your kids, and Luke's fantastic down in Miss Viejo. I mean, like fantastic quarterback. Came in, I felt was severely underrated, but he's definitely not underrated down there in the Southern California quarterback circles. I mean, he's generally considered to be the top dog, and we got another really really good one, and I'm super excited about it.
Yep, I definitely agree. All right, so before I'm gonna do something real quick on this last, let me get the dev super chat. Then we got one more about saying, and I'm gonna pull up a short clip as we end out the show. But what up, Dev? We had a great time in Madison, Wisconsin, man. Great time. I'm trying to chop up footage and post it as quickly as I can, and we got pics and stuff. But he says, "Thanks for the 5. Shout out to the Scoop family we met at Wisconsin game. Pictures to come. Yeah, a lot of great people, man. We met a cat named Danny. Wasn't his name Danny in the airport? He came up to us and it was like, hey, what's up, guys? I watch you guys every day. He was flying back to New York. He's from Ohio but lives in New York. Great guy. He's one of those guys where it's just like super sharp, very smart dude, and great to meet him. We should have got a pic with Danny, but I had to get to my flight only to find out it was going to be delayed. But that's another discussion. But anyway, yes, we got more footage for y'all to come. You got anything on that, Nevada?
Yeah, no, it's fun meeting people. Now, B, you're a celebrity now, B. So you're gonna have to start getting like security or something else like that, or going to see. That's the one good thing about being Nevada Buck is you can be kind of anonymous, even though I got to tell you, last year at the national championship game, I was out with my family, having dinner, and some guys came up and they're like, "Hey, are you Nevada Buck?" And I'm like, how in the world did you know that? And they couldn't have been nicer. They actually ended up buying us dinner, which was absolutely just
Wow.
above and beyond. Two of the greatest guys in the world, but like they completely came up and like just, hey, Nevada Buck. So get ready for the run on you because you're so handsome and so distinctive there. You know, the people know they see you and they're like, oh my gosh, that's that's either Denzel or B Moses right there. And we're not really sure which one it is. But
Oh,
you
that is
sure
funny. Nevada
but
trying to gas me up over here.
B's like, hey, she's 6'4", and it's like you're a celebrity now. People are gonna come up to you from now on. That is the life you've chosen now, B. It's just the
The
way it's
life I've chosen.
the life you chose.
I got to get my trench coat and my shades and my little with the nose and the mustache thing, you know.
Or you can wear one of those like those COVID masks. You just wear the COVID mask around or something
That's
like
good.
that.
That's good.
That could work too.
Definitely can do that. But
Yes.
that is funny. No, that was great though. Being in Madison and seeing and scoopers coming up to us and just taking pics and having fun, man. You know, knowing that we're about to enjoy a bloodbath in Madison with no anxiety. Rat poison, B Moses, beware. Right. This is definitely rat poison. Trying to pump my head up. All right. So real quick, as we get to this last super chat, I want to show y'all something real quick about saying that is just so darn impressive. Look at this, man. Look at this view from this right here. Let me stretch this out real quick. Look at this pocket presence. His pocket presence isn't talked about enough. Look at this. Boom. Feet chopping. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Here's the throw to Carnell Tate. How beautiful is that? That's like every quarterback drill you see. And the footwork, he sets his feet, throws it perfectly up for him to grab it. Hey, man, I just wanted to quickly show that. So dope. Aren't y'all just happy we got this kid? Real quick, you want to respond before we go into this last super chat, Nevada?
Well, it's just fun because I and I'm not gonna. I promise I'm gonna hold off not naming him, but some other guy would have put his head down and taken a sack on that play. And Julian just moved around, found the pocket, and everything. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, you're bringing tears to my eyes.
It would have been like ah!
Ah!
And Ryan Day's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Why you're taking a sack? What are you doing?
Oh man, that is funny but true.
But
anyway, all right. So last super chat here, Jeff Rittenhouse. Thanks for the 5. Sands' ability to throw the ball where our receivers keep in stride, aka Troy Aikman in his prime. 5-yard hitch to JJ is same as a run. Great point. That's you saying that, Jeff Rittenhouse. See, smart, intelligent fans. I know this sounds simple, but that kind of summarizes what me and Nevada have been saying about the passing game and how deadly it is on all levels, because you're right. The 5-yard hitch to JJ is open. It's unstoppable. The 7-yard out to the flat is unstoppable because they respect his speed so much. They're playing soft coverage. They're backpedaling, praying that they don't get burnt. And anytime we need 7 yards, it's there. And it's like a long run. You're absolutely correct. Great post or great super chat. Nevada, what you got?
Yeah, now the ability to do that, you can only do that when you're super accurate and you got guys that run great routes and catch the ball. And we've got all those things. So, like I said, we can hurt you so many ways through the air, but the controlled passing game is certainly one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. So very exciting. One day closer to the bye week being over. We'll watch the games this weekend and all that other stuff and get ready for our Buckeyes to play again. We're halfway through, y'all. Enjoy this ride. This team has more football to be played. I'm very confident they're going to go out there and put their best effort forth and handle business, man. So let's enjoy it, y'all. And we're going to go ahead and sign off. Buckeye Scoop family, love y'all. Buckeye Nation, we'll see you next time. Peace.